Have you ever wondered whether or not you're vaccinated and if it worked? According to Amy Kinkle, MD, 85 to 95% of vaccines are effective in the population. Some of you have already experienced whether or not to vaccinate your child, and if you haven't, you will in the future. My biggest concern with vaccinating my daughter was the negative effects it could have on her. When consulting my daughter's pediatrician, Dr. Wilson, she stated that her belief that it was a bigger risk not to vaccinate her than it was worrying about the effects. 5 months and 16 days ago, I had to make the decision for my daughter. My fiance and I chose to vaccinate. It was a very tough decision. We had to weigh the pros and the cons, research all the possibilities, and then make a decision that was best for us. Today I will explain the pros of vaccinations, the cons of vaccinations, and then tell you some facts that will hopefully make your decision easier. Let's start with discussing the pros of vaccinating children. Pediatricians believe that everyone should be vaccinated. They say that during the beginning of a child's life is when they're at the higher risk of contracting a disease or illness. This is because their immune system has not fully developed. When you vaccinate your child, you are taking safety precautions so that a disease can hopefully not accumulate in their body. It also makes the disease harder to travel from one person to another. Most diseases are prevented upon receiving a vaccine. If a disease is caught and the child was vaccinated for it, the symptoms would be much more mild than if they did not receive the vaccines. Since monitoring your child 24/7 is realistically out of the question, physicians believe that it is your duty as a parent to protect your child. With various diseases popping up, keeping your child updated on their vaccines is in some people's perspective very important. Along with positive viewpoints of vaccines, there's always an opposite viewpoint waiting to be heard. Now that you know about the positive perspectives of vaccines, let's discuss why people oppose vaccinating their children. Physicians always encourage vaccinations and chiropractors go against them. Their philosophy is that when your body is out of alignment, it has to work twice as hard to keep away diseases and illnesses. So if your body is kept in alignment, your body will remain healthy because it's using all of its strength to fight the illnesses. Therefore, according to them, there would be no medical need to get a vaccination. Chiropractors will also recommend herbal teas or herbal medicines before vaccines. Another negative thought about vaccinations is that the government should not be able to dictate which vaccinations your child receives. According to a survey conducted this year by the University of Michigan, 31% of parents believe that they should be able to deny vaccinations that are required by schools. Many diseases children are vaccinated for, such as the measles, whooping cough, and scarlet fever, they have no risk for. This is because since the 19th century, hygiene, personal hygiene, water purification, and better sewage disposal have all decreased the mortality rate of these diseases. Thus, if the disease is no longer a threat, why should your child receive a vaccination for it? The last point about vaccine, the negative views on vaccines, is the most serious. Some vaccines have been linked to causing serious illnesses and side effects. Such effects are paralysis, sudden death, brain inflammation, which can cause brain damage, and many other horrific illnesses. Most people who choose not to vaccinate believe that the risk of their child getting one of these diseases, these effects from the vaccinations, is not worth it. In 1998, A.J. Wakefield concluded that the vaccine MMR for measles, mumps, and rubella could not be ruled out for causing autism. When he conducted this study, he said that he couldn't rule it out and it needed further testing. Now that I've shown you the pros and cons of getting children vaccinated, it is up to you to make a decision. Even though as a parent you may not feel 100% confident in your decision, I believe that you need to take a leap of faith and do what you think is right for your child. First, you have to weigh the pros and the cons against your personal beliefs. Ask yourself, what risk are you willing to take, and can you live with the possible effects? Second, look at the statistics. According to the federal government, since 1990, 30,000 cases of negative effects of vaccines have been recorded. Out of that 30,000, 13% were classified as serious, which means that there are permanent disabilities, hospitalization, and even death. The Pediatric Academic Society in 2003 reported that childhood vaccinations prevented 10.5 million cases of infectious diseases. They also reported that 33,000 deaths were prevented by vaccinating your children. With all of this presented, it is you only that can make the right decision for yourself. I hope that the pros and cons of vaccinating children that I showed you will help you make a decision right for you. I believe that with all the information, you will be able to make a decision that you are most comfortable with. Take time and research all the possibilities and then make your decision. Do not let anyone convince you or sway you one way or the other. It is your responsibility as a parent to feel that you made the right decision.